raise taxes on the rich. They're going to have to gut whatever they're doing on pass-throughs, or it's going to be so complicated that it's going to really screw up, the code even more as far as trying to get through all the various roadblocks they're trying to erect to try to prevent people from claiming the very lower tax bracket that they're creating. I mean, if you're a small businessman and you're barely making any money, if you're only making 20, 30, 40,000 a year running your small business, you're already paying less than the 25% rate anyway. In fact, here's the irony. If they set a pass-through rate at 25% and you're running a small business and making $30,000 a year, you're actually going to pay more now running your small business, because if they didn't have that special rate for pass-throughs, if it just passed through your individual rate, you'd be in the 12% bracket. So the only people who are going to be helped by a 25% rate for pass-throughs are the higher income small business owners that would have paid taxes at the highest rate, wherever that's going to start, at 35%. You don't even have to put that in there if your goal is to protect the middle class. The only reason to have that rate in there is so upper income small businessmen can keep more of what they earn. Now, is that a good thing? Of course it's a good thing, because now they can reinvest what they earn into growing their businesses. But that's what the president has to say. Instead, no, that's not what he's saying. He's saying, we don't want to give a tax cut to the rich. We don't want to give a tax cut to the wealthy. We only want to give tax cuts to the middle class. This is all about the middle class, right? Why does he feel that he has to constantly placate the middle class? Because that's where the votes are, right? He's trying to throw red meat to the voters to show that he's a man of the people. And then when he says it's not going to benefit me, of course it's going to benefit him. It just makes him look that much more ridiculous to say that he's not going to personally benefit from these tax cuts. And, I almost didn't even realize this. I had it in my calendar, and I noticed it this morning when I was looking to make an appointment, that I am speaking at Yale University tomorrow evening. And I just found out today what the topic was, and I'm talking about the minimum wage. And, of course, I'm going to be there, and they promoted me as somebody who's going to talk about why we should abolish the minimum wage. And the thing that bothers me is nobody's protesting. If I was Ben Shapiro, if I was Ann Coulter, it'd be a huge story. there'd be massive protests on the Yale campus. They'd have to be setting up special courses to help the students deal with, the pressure. Maybe they'd have to have a moratorium or something on, when your exams are due, or, your papers, because people would need time to heal and recover from me being on campus, right? If I was, Ben Shapiro or Ann Coulter. But no one cares about Peter Schiff. I'm certainly more controversial than either of those guys as far as some of the positions that I take. So I should be a lot more offensive to some of the real politically correct liberals that dominate the Yale campus. I ran for Senate here in Connecticut. I'm really bad, right? I ran as a Republican for Senate in this state, but apparently people have short memories. So I don't even rate a protest. That I can come to Yale University and talk, and I don't even warrant anybody being upset. No one's going to be there with a picket sign. No one cares. I can come and go in relative obscurity, and people can come and listen to me talk about why the minimum wage should be completely abolished. Doesn't that make me a racist, right? Or maybe at least a homophobe or something, right? Doesn't anybody want to, say something negative about how dare I bring these terrible, racist, homophobic ideas to the Yale campus? How can they tolerate it, right? But somehow they're willing to do that. So I don't know if that means that they're actually improving, that maybe the Yale student body is now more tolerant of a difference of opinion, or just they have no idea who I am. They don't even know what my opinions are, and that if they actually knew what my opinions were, then maybe they would be out protesting. But I don't know, maybe we'll see. Maybe there'll be some last minute protest that will be gathered, and so it'll make me feel a little bit more important if I show up tomorrow and there's at least one picket sign out there by some. Hopefully it's not the Antifa guys. I don't want those guys showing up and causing all kinds of violence at Yale. That I don't want. But a little bit of a peaceful demonstration at least make me feel that I'm somewhat warranted in the scheme of things. Because I guess when you piss people off to the point that they want to protest you, then maybe you know that your message is getting out there, that you're doing some good. If you're pissing off the right people, then maybe it's because your message is actually getting out, and the people who you're pissing off are afraid that your message is getting out, and they feel that they have to do something to silence you. But in my case, they're not worried, so maybe it'll be a little bit of a stealth attack. Maybe I'm going to get into the underbelly of the Yale campus and maybe do some good. Hopefully, though, the student body knows that I'm going to be there. I don't want to be speaking to just a room full of Peter Schiff fans. I want a bunch of people in there who come in all for the minimum wage, right? They're going to think, who is this horrible, hateful, greedy capitalist? Who is this fascist that wants to eliminate the minimum wage? And I want them leaving thinking, he's a good guy, he's a decent guy. And, I never thought about these things. I never thought about the minimum wage quite that way. And you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe it is a bad law. Maybe we should get rid of it. That's what I want. I want people to come into that auditorium who are completely convinced that I'm wrong. But I want their mind to be just open enough, just a little crack in that door, that I can actually get in there and get them to think with their heads instead of their hearts.
Resuming episode.
Leverage do these people in the Federal Reserve have over the American people? Or for that matter, what kind of leverage do the Saudis have over our money? Will you be
Islam engaged in such incredible fake news and awesome level deception that they're just moving on and not saying, well, we question ISIS taking responsibility, because that gives you motive. You've got his girlfriend going to the Middle East. You've got him deep in debt, but getting millions of dollars. Nobody knows where the money came from. That's what ISIS and Al-Qaeda and folks do, is they pay people to carry out shooting attacks, stabbing attacks, and bombing attacks. Your family doesn't have money. You're in Palestine, Israel. They'll give you $200,000 to go stab some people. They go shoot deception. Ability. That is the hates white people. Pick up the phone and call each
your life.
making you tires.
Haven't been paid.
.com and prison by Dane Dean have brought up this camp and cutting you up fire and they have your kind of see the season you need from a face of this call this and to the public a debate about this. They don't want you to know that individuals, organizations have come out and taken credit for it. They want to say we don't know what happened when a giant concert full of 23,000 people, 80+% of them white, get targeted when the left says we're coming in October to start killing whites and Trump supporters. And we're going to overthrow the government. And we're getting armed and we're getting ready. And in meeting halls all over the country, Doug Hagman's exposed it. Stephen Crowder's exposed it. Paul Watson's exposed it. Drudge Report's exposed it. Project Veritas has exposed it. We have all exposed it. And InfoWars has shown the videos and shown the articles and shown where they say they're doing it. I go to gun ranges to get intel. They say, yeah, most of our business now isn't libertarians or conservatives. It's liberals in here preparing for a civil war. And there's just women with the jibs everywhere firing full auto and semi-auto because these are gun ranges where you can rent the guns and do it. So new doomsdayers taking up arms and prepping for catastrophe are the American liberals. There's that article. But I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to get into some of the other news. When we come back to start the next segment, I'm going to get into the Middle Eastern connections and the evidence piling up there that they don't want you to discuss while the media plays dumb, just like they did to the Pulse nightclub, just like they did San Bernardino. They wouldn't say for 3+ years that Major Hassan killing 13 people at Fort Hood was an Islamic attack, even though he was in contact with Al-Qaeda and with all their top people and was planning it for 2 years, and the CIA knew and did nothing and let the army psychologist prepare his attack. And when there's an attack, they tell you it's not Islamic. And it took years to have the army be reversed and have to admit it because of lawsuits. Fort Hood shooter Nidal Hassan petitions to be a citizen of Islamic State. But he's not involved with Islam. And it wasn't an Islamic terror attack because the FBI, run by Mueller at the time, and the CIA, run by Brennan, converted to Wahhabism, tells you Islamic terror doesn't exist in the official FBI manuals until Trump got in 9 months ago. And now it does. So a group that tells you Islamic terror doesn't exist. Remember Obama would say, hold on, these Al-Qaeda attacks, they're not in Islam. That's not Islamic. The media would say, yes, sir, we're now little Paris. Islamic terror doesn't exist. And water doesn't exist. And the sky doesn't exist. And I'm not wearing a blue jacket and a white shirt. I mean, this is the level. Of course they're covering it up. Of course they're covering up the fact that there's these Islamic connections. Does that mean it's absolutely Islamic? Does that mean it's open and shut? Does that mean it's case closed? No. But the history, the motive, the left working with them, Antifa working with them, this whole constellation of information, and the government's history of covering it up, and the time frame we're in, and everything we witnessed, I told you, they're going to start mass shootings all over the country. They're going to blame conservatives. They're going to blame libertarians when it's their people doing it as the pretext. And it won't matter how much evidence it's a leftist. It won't matter if it's an Islamicist. They're going to say the NRA and American gun owners are terrorists and you are to blame. Shame on you. And whether it is CBS News or CNN or ABC News or MSNBC or even Fox News is like CNN Light now. It's unwatchable. What CNN was like 10 years ago. They're all saying it's American gun owners and it's our fault. And Jimmy Kimmel's crying and they're saying the NRA's terrorist, which means you're a terrorist. And this is how it works. Now, all gun owners aren't just white supremacists or Russian agents. You're now terrorists. We're going to play those clips coming up as well. We're going to analyze it all. Jimmy Kimmel up there with a gun. Can we cue that up? Where he has a 9mm lookalike pellet gun and shoots it and says, we're going to kill you, Alex. This is a guy with bodyguards. But he didn't want you to be able to have a gun. Powerful article on Infowars.com. By Paul Watson, showing his armed bodyguards, but you can't. They're hypocrites. We're in an info war. Let's hit them with the truth and understand they're getting ready for more terror attacks. It's here. The season's here. Boom. Whole team is coming. It's here. Before we go any further, people are really responding to this. I don't know how long we can run it. Brain Force Plus, now 20% more, capless at each bottle, is 50% off the regular price. Our last big special was 40%. We've never done 50, but people are really responding to this. And so as you order more and we're able to fund our operation, I can go down in price. 50. That's 50% off. It's $19.96 right now, ladies and gentlemen. $19 and change. 50, it's actually 50.04% off. It's over 50% off. Brain Force Plus, we can probably run this through next week because we ordered a lot of it. But this is a mega special, never before done. Try the nootropic brain pill for yourself. It's amazing. Secret 12 is 40% off. That's got to end very, very soon. Vitamin Mineral Fusion, 50% off with the amino acids. An incredible deal. That's going to end in a few days because we're already starting to run low. 20% off on the Alexa Pure Breeze. Not a luxury, a necessity, an amazing in-house filtration system. 20% off are the low, low price. Oxy Powder, 25% off. Flush your guts out. It's amazing. We've also got 20% off Alexa Pure water filtration systems. Caveman, that special's about to end, 50% off. InfoWarsLive.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. Fund the American resistance to the globalists. Fund the InfoWar for victory. This is the main battle.
James Madison, the father of the Bill of Rights, wrote, "Where an excess of power prevails, property of no sort is duly respected. No man is safe in his opinions, in his person, and it's James Madison."
Your lack coffee.
Rusted.
In a few minutes, I'm going to tweet on Real Alex Jones, viewer discretion advised, a reported photo of the shooter. It looks like the floor from the videos I've seen, and the photo looks real. A photo of the reported shooter. He may be a patsy, he may be a cutout, but we're going to tweet that at Real Alex Jones on Twitter coming up here in just a few minutes. Now, that said, ladies and gentlemen, when we're looking at the current atmosphere, you have the left saying in October, November, we're going to launch massive attacks. We're getting weapons. We're going to shoot you. We're going to kill you. We're going to kill the president. We're going to kill his supporters. We're going to kill the media. We're going to kill Congress. Hashtag hunt Republicans. They have Wolf Blitzer saying, hey, the guy that, went out there and shot people at the baseball field, he did this because he was politically upset. That's what's happening. There is a worldwide advance of Antifa, the Antifa fascist activist movement. And there is an exclusive story on newswars.com and prisonplanet.com. Report, Antifa receiving military training in Syria. Vegas shooter's girlfriend traveled to the Middle East. And this breaks down the photos, the videos, and more of how different Islamic groups, from the Kurds to the Wahhabis to you name it, have been actively working with the left in America and have been tracked paying for American Antifa operations and giving them the training they need to carry out attacks. And that these particular groups that have been identified are Muslims with communist affiliations, particularly the Kurds. Editor's note, just like the Pulse nightclub massacre, the San Bernardino attack, and the 2009 Fort Hood shooting, the mainstream media is doing everything it can to cover up the connection between Islamic terrorism and major massacres on U.S. soil. That's a fact. They've done it over and over again. ISIS claimed responsibility. The Associated Press said yesterday morning, ISIS is almost always accurate when it claims responsibility. They don't reclaim responsibility when they haven't done it. Then by afternoon, they said it was made up by me with no proof. They said, Jones claims ISIS is involved with deep state. Well, we know the deep state that Trump can't kick out ran the whole Arab Spring and the rest of it. That's a fact. So just like the Pulse nightclub massacre, the San Bernardino attack in California, the 2009 Fort Hood shooting, the mainstream media is doing everything it can to cover up the connection between Islamic terrorism and major massacres on U.S. soil. Establishment reporters are even claiming it's fake news, that ISIS took responsibility for the attack, even though they did take responsibility for the attack. The following article reveals the dark triad of Antifa, Kurdish members of ISIS, and anarcho-communist Kurds, and by implication, why a country music festival, the bastion of flyover country Americana, was targeted. For background, read this related article first. FBI source, Vegas shooter found with Antifa literature, photos taken in Middle East. That was later confirmed after we broke that he was in the Middle East in the photos. Members of Antifa are illegally crossing the Syrian border to receive military training from Kurdish militants as part of a dark triad between Antifa anarcho-communist Kurds and Kurdish members of ISIS. The U.S.-backed Kurdish People's Protection Units, YPG, has anarcho-communist politics, which also attracted American and European Antifa to fight alongside them in what they refer to as the Rojava Revolution. That's been in the news. Security agencies are concerned that these Antifa members will continue the revolution at home once they return. Already, FBI sources have received Antifa literature and photos taken in the Middle East, which were found in the hotel room of the suspected Las Vegas shooter, Stephen Paddock. And I'm going to show you the photo right now, reportedly taken in the hotel room of the reported shooter. You can clearly get Patsy taken up there and killed. The folks that actually did escape. But there is the gruesome photo. Looks real to me. Was it death by suicide? Massacre by suicide? Some type of fantasy deal? Like we've seen Prozac heads before? Or was he radicalized by jihadis? Was he a leftist? They're the ones calling for it, saying hunt Republicans. Where do you find a big group of them? Country music. We're investigating. Everything we're saying is very plausible, historic, based on reality. The media is telling you they have no idea. They don't know why. You know, if that had been a hip-hop concert with a mainly urban population of black folks, you know within minutes the media would say he was a white supremacist there to kill black people, even if they never found a motive or ever had any evidence. You'd hear that. You'd never hear the end of it. If an NFL game was attacked by a white guy, you'd hear the same thing. And that's what we're saying we think they'll probably pull. But instead, ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting here looking at this and watching this unfold. And they're all playing dumb as everyone searches for the motive. The motive and the background has been found. He has Islamic connections. They have made claims of responsibility. ISIS has. You have the media desperately trying to cover that up, acting like it never even happened when it did. But the FBI, still run by the globalists, says no link found, even though our sources, and it was later confirmed, say she went to the Middle East, and there were photos of that and Islamic literature inside along with Antifa. I mean, you had them wearing hijabs. You had the San Bernardino attacker lady going to the Middle East over and over again, and they were going to try to say they weren't Islamic in their attack. That's how stupid they think every single one of us are. I'm going to be opening the phones up later in the broadcast to go over all of this, but the report continues with the background, the evidence, how they're finding all over Syria different rebel forces with the Antifa flag linking up with the communists and saying that they're planning attacks inside the United States. Rolling Stone interviewed international Western leftists that are fighting for the YPG, including Americans. And the fact that these anarcho-communist militants have women who are fighting ISIS is something that is often repeated. Antifa groups in Europe and North America have posted photos of their fighters holding up the Kurdish YPG flag along with the Antifa flag in Syria. And that's just some of the news. It goes on and on. You definitely want to read the full report for yourself on newswars.com and Infowars.com. And the big one is the article Kit Daniels wrote that's linked first in the article. Vegas shooter found with Antifa literature, photos taken in the Middle East, FBI source. And that's before it even came out.